What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Johnny K Picks. And in this video, I'll be going over my full card picks and predictions, along with the bets that I'll be looking at so far for UFC Vegas 72 Song versus Simone. First things first, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, or if you just haven't yet, and don't forget to click on the notifications so you don't miss out on any of the new videos that come out or live streams. So I know for sure I will let you guys know this a little bit ahead of time. There's going to be new UFC Prism box openings that will be coming out next week. So I will have a couple videos maybe this weekend or early next week. So if you like those videos that I put out, definitely be on the lookout for those. And another thing too, before I get into UFC Vegas 71 and all of the fun that happened there, I want to give a quick shout out to our guy, Dr. Andrew Sorowitz, for sending me some awesome t-shirts from Face Meet Fist. This is one of the good ones. If you know your movies, you'll know where this is from. But I absolutely love this shirt. The three quarters is a great one. I got some other shirts that he sent. I got a tumbler. Like he does great stuff for over there. So let me bring up a little thing over here. So he's on Instagram. Definitely check him out. Face Meet Fist. That's the website as well. Facemeetfist.com. Check out all of his stuff. Great stuff. And I'm sure we'll have him on. This is one of my other favorites, the Aljo shirt. Can't wait to put that one on when he fights. So, like I said, I just want to give a little quick shout out to him. Thank you again, Andrew, for all of those goodies. So, let's get into UFC Vegas 71, and we'll start from the bottom. But I will let you know before we go, I did end up going 6-4 on my picks and that one no contest from Bobby Green. And for my bets, not the greatest. I only ended up winning one of five of my bets, losing minus 3.95 units. But like I said, very weird card. We'll go over it right now. I'm blaming the Apex because the Apex is garbage. And I just realized that after I lost all of those units because it was just a crazy night. So, like I said, let's go over these real quick. Brady Heastan versus Batgrel Dana. Dana was winning both rounds until he wasn't. He gave up, and Brady ended up surviving somehow again and won in the third round. Good win from him. I'm fading both guys. I'm still gonna fade both guys, especially Dana now. I just don't think he's got it anymore. It's really he looked really good, and then until he wasn't. So next fight was a very close, fun fight. William Gomez versus Francis Marshall. Very close. The first two rounds, very close, and Marshall definitely won the third round. But William, he landed more strikes. He had more volume than Francis. Francis might have landed the harder shots, but it just wasn't enough. Gomez did win very ever so slightly, but it went to split, which is the right call. But Gomez was the right person to win. Mohammed Usman versus Junior Tafa. I don't know how Usman did not get knocked out in this fight, but Tafa has zero get up game, and Usman just won by lay and pray. That's about it. That's all I can tell you. 29-28 Usman. Ugh, weird fight, but it is what it is. Dumont versus Hosa. Pretty solid fight. Had both fighters had their moments, but I thought Dumont did just a little bit more. I think she won rounds 1 and 2, even though round 1 was very close. Hosa definitely won round 3, so no split, which I'm kind of shocked this wasn't a split. I really thought it would go to split, but it didn't. Number 1 by unanimous decision, 29-28. And yeah, no problem there. Jackson versus Yaya. Jackson did what he needed to do. He answered my question of does he have the killer instinct, and he got this. He knocked him out, and good win from him. He did what he needed to do. Is the biggest favorite on the card for a reason, and that's how you do it. Weird fight here. Giagos versus Ricky Glenn. I had Ricky Glenn. I was pretty high that he would win this fight, but he looked like he was. I don't know if he was fighting underwater, if you want to say. He was very slow motion. I didn't know if he was like maybe pretending like he was sparring, but you could tell Christos had the speed advantage early and he got that knockout. And maybe was it a early stoppage? You can maybe debate, but you can tell Glenn was out until maybe he got or he hit the floor and then he maybe woke up and then the ref was already stopped it by then. But good win from Giagos. I'm still not that impressed with him. I'm just more disappointed in Ricky Glenn, but maybe it's time to fade him, and his chin may be gone after that one. Very fun fight here. Jeremiah Wells versus Matthew Selmsberger. Very an uproar of Twitter and how man, I really thought Jeremiah Wells won this fight because and I know Selmsberger knocked him down twice in the first round and I think once, maybe twice in the second, but it was all Jeremiah Wells in the third. And I want to say that Jeremiah Wells came back enough in the first round to actually steal it. And then the second round was, I thought, the closest one that you could have still gave it to Selmsberger, but I don't think he won 30-27, though. I know 2 judges gave Wells 30-27. That to me is a little bit crazy, but I did think that Wells stole the first round because he did very well after like the first 30 seconds where he got knocked down twice. He did a lot of damage when he was on top and he didn't just sit there and pray or like Usman did lay and pray, but he was working the ground and pound damage and he was doing a lot. So I think the judges like that, and I think that's maybe why he got a lot of their judges picks there for the rounds. So I could see it go either way though, but I would have gave it to Wells just barely. Yasmin Lucindo versus Walker. Lucindo was way better, just like everyone thought. I'm surprised that Luciano didn't get the finish here because she was landing some very good shots on Walker, but Walker was tough, so she survived. And yeah, dominant win. This girl's gonna be a problem. She's only 21 years old, and she's gonna get better than that. So, and I think that I think she's a strawweight normally, and she went up to flyweight this one. So maybe that's why she couldn't get out Walker because Walker's normally a flyweight. But hey, it is what it is. The no contest of Bobby Green and Jared Gordon. Green clearly headbutted him, whether it on accident, it wasn't on purpose or anything. He was going in for a jab, and it caused Jared Gordon to go down. Now, did it knock him out? No. What knocked out Gordon was the follow-up shots on the ground, but Gordon was kind of out of it. He wasn't clearly out, but he was clearly out after the follow-up shots. So it is what it is. Sucks for Bobby Green. I had Bobby Green in a parlay. I had the over 1.5. I think I even had a little fun bet on the side, like a same game parlay with Bobby Green, and all of that was voided. So it is what it is. Bruno Silva versus Brad Tavares. Bruno Silva definitely looked like the old Bruno Silva. And was this stoppage a little controversial? Maybe. But he did land some very hard shots on Tavares, and Tavares did not look good taking them. I could see why the ref stopped it, but it might have been a little too early. Maybe wait for a couple follow-up shots because he didn't I don't think he waited for any follow-up shots. The ref stopped it. So a good win from Bruno. This is the Bruno that we know. The GM3 fight, I threw that out the window. Now it's completely gone. I'm gonna forget that was just a bad night in the office for him. Um, Good win from him. And the main event, as fun as it lasted, Sergey versus Curtis Blades. I knew in the first minute Blades was not going to shoot a takedown. He was going to try a strike with them, and that was the worst game plan that he could do. And he tried one takedown, but it was after he got rocked a couple times. It was a very weak, to put it nicely, takedown attempt. Pavlovich pushed him away and went right back at it and got the knockout. So good win from Sergey. I think he should be the next in line for a heavyweight title shot. I know they're going to do Stipe and John Jones, but I don't know, man. This is going to be a fun fight if John Jones takes on Sergey, but I don't even know if John Jones wants Sergey. That's the problem. So overall, like I said, kind of a weird card for betting. Weird events that happened. It was at the Apex. I'm blaming the Apex for all this shenanigans. So we'll just let that one go. I know this one coming up will be at the Apex, so I'm going to be careful with my bets again on this one. And then just to go over my bets real quick, minus 3.95 units on the night. I had Glenn, kind of sucked right there. I had the Glenn to go over 1.5 rounds. It barely got over a minute and a half. And fight to start round 2 in the Bruno Silva fight. I kind of thought Tavares would hold up at least 1 round, and he didn't. And then I had Marshall, very close fight, but probably the right guy won, let's be honest. But Marshall's really good. So it might he I think he just really needed to go for takedowns earlier. After the first round, I'm sure he knew his striking wasn't working. And he should have went to the takedowns like he did in the third round in the second round. And then I think he would have probably won that fight. But like I said, it is what it is. And we'll just move on to the next one, which is going to be UFC 72. Guess where this is at, guys? At the Apex. Going to be a pretty lackluster card, if you want to say that and put it nicely. But the first one we got is Haley Cowan versus Jamie Lynn Horth. Cowan is 7-2, 31 years old, 5'8", with a 69-inch reach. And Horth is 5-0, 33 years old, 5'7", with a 67-inch reach. I didn't know this until just now. It looks like Jamie Lynn usually fights at flyweight. Let me see. Flyweight usually fights at flyweight, so she is moving up to bantamweight. So, something to think about. I didn't think about that in my prediction, but hey, here we are. So Cowan, this is attempt number 3 at her official UFC debut. She's got solid striking and good kickboxing, good wrestling, but her takedowns aren't super great. She's very strong in the clinch position. She hasn't really fought the greatest competition. And Horth is making her UFC debut. Like I said, she's an okay striker with good power. She likes to push forward. She's a pretty decent grappler as well, and all 5 of her wins have come by finish, so that's something to think about there, and that's really about all I can say about her. Couldn't really find too much stuff with her, but this is a super weird 50-50 fight in my eyes, and like I said, Horth is moving up to bantamweight, so maybe that's something to think about with the cardio maybe, but betting perspective, I will say this before I tell you my prediction, I'm staying far away from this fight, not touching it whatsoever. And I know what I'm gonna get with Cowan, but that's not saying too much from, trying to pick here, but I'm gonna roll the dice. I'm gonna pick Horth. Why not? I really think this is a pick 'em fight. I think in the beginning, Horth was an underdog, and now it's a pick 'em. So that's something you can look at too. And yeah, another thing too is Cowan's been submitted a couple times in her losses by low-level women's fighters. So like I said, Horth has pretty good grappling and submissions herself, so that could happen in this fight and whatever happens. So with my pick, I'm gonna go with Horth to win by decision. Why not? I'm not confident whatsoever. I'm not gonna bet this fight, and I wouldn't recommend doing that either. I'm not even gonna tell you what I like in that fight because there's nothing. Next fight: Brian Kelleher versus Journey Newsom or Newson. Sorry. Kelleher is 24 and 14, 36 years old, 5'6", with a 64-inch reach. Newson is 10 and 4, 34 years old, 5'5", with a 67.5-inch reach. So Kelleher is a well-rounded fighter. He's got good striking, good boxing, good, decent power in his hands, very good grappling, very good guillotine. One of the sneakiest guillotines in the UFC for sure. Solid power. Like I said, doesn't have the greatest submission defense, but he doesn't have to worry about that too much in this fight. Newson, solid striker with power as well. He does have some wrestling and his takedowns are decent if he wants to use them, but he's normally going to keep it on the feet. Takedown defense isn't the greatest. And if you want to say he has low fight IQ, I could totally see that. But man, his game plans are just weird. And they just aren't, he doesn't really follow the right game plan he should use in some of his fights. So, again, another interesting fight, good matchup. But ultimately, I'm going to go with Kelleher to win this fight. I just think with his experience and he has pretty good striking. I think he can stay safe on the feet. And if he wants to take this fight to the mat, I think he can take this fight to the mat. I think that's the better game plan for him and the easiest path to victory is work his grappling, work his wrestling, and maybe even get a submission win or a decision. So with my pick, I'm going to go with Kelleher to win by decision. Journey is pretty tough to get out of there, whether it's by knockout or submission. So I would say he by decision, but for bets, I would maybe look at the over. But even then, like Kelleher can wrap up that neck and at some point, and or maybe Journey can land a knockout. So I don't know about the overs here. I think I might ultimately stay away again. This is at the Apex again, so usually Apex means unders, not overs. So I think I'm just gonna stay away from this fight. Next one we got is Stephanie Egger versus Irina Alekseeva. Egger is 8-3, 34 years old, 5'6", with a 68-inch reach. And Alekseeva is 4-1, 32 years old, 5'8", with a 66-inch reach. So Egger's a very good grappler with very good submissions. She's good in the clinch, very strong. Her striking isn't the greatest, but that's her game plan in most of her fights is to either get a takedown or clinch up against the cage and try to get a trip or some other type of takedown and work her grappling and submission game. That's what she's known for. That's what she's going to do. Alekseeva making her UFC debut. She's an okay striker, but not the most technical. She does have some power in her hands. She has good grappling and takedowns as well, but her little downfall sometimes could be she's a little too aggressive at times, and she could be hittable on the feet. But of course, Stephanie Egger is not the greatest striker to take advantage of that. But overall, though, I gotta go Edgar here. I think she's the more proven fighter in the MMA. I mean, Arena's only gotten 5, and I mean, Edgar's only had 11, but she's fought better competition for sure. I think this fight will get to the mat one way or another, whether it's Irina getting a takedown or Edgar getting a clinch takedown or something like that. But I gotta, if that's the case, give me Edgar to win this one with her grappling and potentially a submission. So I'm gonna go with Edgar to get a submission win here. Why not? Let's do it. For bets though, I don't know if I would touch that minus 300 line with Edgar. I don't trust her that much. She should win this fight, but not enough at minus 300. Maybe the under, or if you just want to do a prop bet of Edgar by submission, now we're talking. I like both of those. So that's something you can look at for this fight. Otherwise, stay away. This one, Josh Quinlan versus Trey Waters. Josh Quinlan is 6-0, 30 years old, 6 foot, 72-inch reach. And Waters is 7-1, 28 years old, 6'5", with a 77-inch reach. So Quinlan is a powerful striker. All of his wins have come by finish. He does have some good grappling and wrestling in his back pocket he can use, but lately he wants to keep this on the feet and getting that knockout, and he's got the power to do it early. He's tough and durable, and his cardio is pretty decent as well. Waters he's making his UFC debut on short notice. This is I want to say within a week, week and a half tops. He's a solid striker with power as well. He can be hittable on the feet, as we've seen in the Gabriel Bonfim fight. But man, Gabriel Bonfim is the truth, and so I don't blame his loss. But he did get rocked in that fight. He did win his last LFA fight about a week ago, and it was wow, a week ago, and he's fighting already again. So think of that too. Um, Yeah, his cardio is good, and he does have some sneaky submissions under his belt that he could use. So, no brainer here, no shocker whatsoever. I'm going with Quinlan here. I know he's going to have a pretty decent height and reach disadvantage of about 5 inches each, but I think Quinlan's power in his hands is going to be too much for Trey Waters. He doesn't really move his head too much. And I think it's only going to take one straight or one counter left hook, and it's going to be over for Waters. And maybe it's going to be a club and sub type of thing, but I think it's probably just going to be a straight knockout. Um, so with my pick, give me Quinlan to win. I'm going to say first round knockout. Bets, what I would look at here is the unders for sure. Quinlan money line. I don't know what the money line is. I think it hasn't come out yet since it's a shorter or like a fight that just happened. And look at the Quinlan by knockout or inside the distance. I think those are the three that I would do. Unfortunately, I just don't think Waters has a chance in this fight, but I could be wrong. It's at the Apex. Who knows? This next fight should be a fun one. Cody Durden versus Charles Johnson. I'm gonna check and see if I mix. No, I didn't. Okay. Cody Durden versus Charles Johnson. Durden is 14-4-1, 32 years old, 5'7", with a 67-inch reach. And Johnson is 13-4, 32 years old, 5'9", with a 70-inch reach. So Durden is a very good wrestler with good takedowns. His striking is okay. He does have some power in his hands. I would say it's a work in progress with his striking, but it's getting better. Good cardio, very tough and durable. He likes to wear down his opponents with that wrestling and takedowns. And on the feet, he can be a little hittable at times if he can't get those takedowns. Johnson is a well-rounded fighter himself. He's got solid technical striking at range. He does good kicks up the middle. Has good grappling that doesn't really use that much in the UFC, but I think he should use a little bit. He can be low volume at times, and lately his cardio has been letting him down, especially in his last fight against Ode Osborne. Man, he looked gassed in the 3rd round to the point where he couldn't do anything, and O'Day was gassed after a round and a half, and he still lost to O'Day, and O'Day was taking him down too, which is never a good look. So I gotta go with all that being said, and how long ago was this? This was a month ago he fought, a month and a half ago. He is fighting, like, literally every month and a half or 2 months, so I don't even know if he's fully recovered. Whatever you wanna say, but I really like the underdog in Cody Durden. Durden is kind of a underrated guy, and I think the tools that he has, he can beat, Charles Johnson. He's got the cardio, the toughness, the wrestling, the takedowns. That's what you need to do to break Charles Johnson. I mean, Ode Osborne showed it, and he couldn't even do it that well. I know Cody Durden's gonna be way better than that. So, um, I mean, if Johnson can stuff the takedowns, Johnson has a better chance, but I don't think he's going to. Like his takedown defense isn't that great. And maybe Johnson looks good in the 1st round, but I think as the fight goes on, he's going to start to fade, and Cody's going to get those takedowns early and or way easier than he did. So I'm going to go with Cody Durden to win by decision. Johnson is tough, so I don't think there's going to be a finish. And I can't even remember if there he did. He's never been finished. So yeah, this is going to go to decision. I think Cody's going to work that wrestling and get the decision win 29-28 more than likely. Bets, though, I would look at the overs here, but we're at the apex. Durden money line, no, he's a dog. I think he's at plus 150 range now instead of 165. So if you like him, you might want to jump on that right now. And that's about it. That's all I would really look at. Maybe decision prop for Cody, but if you're gonna get the plus money, why worry about the decision prop? Next one, Natan Levy versus Pete Rodriguez. Levy is 8-1, 31 years old, 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. And Rodriguez is 5-1, 26 years old, 5'9" with a 73-inch reach. So I believe this is a lightweight. Yes. Okay. So Levy is a solid grappler with good takedowns. He's got good submissions on the feet. His striking is just all right. It's not awful, but it's not amazing. He can be hittable and slow down as the fight goes on, but nothing to the point where you got to worry about it. But um, Rodriguez, he's a solid boxer with good power in his hands. He likes to push forward and be super aggressive. He's pretty durable and willing to take a punch to give one. He likes to get in those slugfest brawls, but I'm very interested to see how his takedown defense is going to be in this fight and how his cardio is going to be if this fight does get out of the 1st round. Because let's go to his little resume here. All of his wins and losses have been in the 1st round. And I know the last 2 fights have been at welterweight. This is going to be at lightweight. So something to think about again. He's just cutting a little bit more weight. He looked a little small and a little bit out of shape at 170. So I think this is the right weight class for him. But I got to go with Levy. But Rodriguez is gonna be live in the 1st round, I will say that, but I just can't see how Levy cannot get any takedowns in this fight and work the grappling early because I think Pete Rodriguez's takedown defense is not gonna be that great. So, I'm gonna go with Levy to win. I'm gonna say he does get a submission, like a rear naked choke, like in the 2nd or early 3rd round, just because Rodriguez is gonna be gassed from all the grappling and wrestling and trying to stuff takedowns, and I think Levy will eventually get that finish. Bets, maybe look at the under 2.5. I think this is set at 1.5. I'm a little iffy on that, but I wouldn't hate the under 1.5, but under 2.5, I like a lot. And Levy's a minus 275 favorite. I think that's pretty safe for a parlay piece, but man, Rodriguez in the 1st round is going to be scary, and you may be sweating it. So to cover your bases, I would maybe do the under 2.5, and I think that just covers everything, and you don't have to sweat too much. I like that. Next one, probably people's main event. Martin Buday versus Jake Collier. Buday is 11-1, 31 years old, 6'4" with a 77-inch reach, and Collier is 13-8, 34 years old, 6'3" with a 78.5-inch reach. Did I skip one? I think I did. No, I didn't. Okay. Man, my thing is messed up. My bad, guys. They switched around the fights. That's why I think I keep missing them. Let me get here. All right, Boudet. Sorry. Okay, striker with okay power. Very good in the clinch up against the cage. He holds his opponents up the cage very well. He's got very good knees and elbows when that happens. Cardio is pretty good for a heavyweight. He's durable, but he can be a little low volume at times. And in his last fight against Lucas Bredsky, clearly he lost that fight. Very low volume for some reason. He did not look himself, and maybe this is one of those fights where it was like a Bruno Silva thing. It just wasn't his night. Maybe something was up. Maybe he was hurt. Who knows? But I think he's a little bit better than that performance. Collier, solid striker. He doesn't really have that one shot KO power, but he's got some decent pop in his hands. He throws a lot of volume for a heavyweight. He has shown some wrestling that he can use in takedowns, but he normally likes to keep it on the feet. And if he does get a little too crazy, he can gas out with grappling and stuff like that. But this is a 50-50 fight, which is why the line says it's a pick 'em. And both guys aren't great. They're kind of bottom of the barrel heavyweights, and honestly, I'm not gonna dive too deep into this one, but I'm gonna take Boudet to win. I'm not super confident, and like I said, I just think that last fight, a lot of people are probably gonna pick against him because he did not look good and he shouldn't have won that fight. But let's go to Jake Collier against Chris Barnett. He looked decent, and then till he wasn't, and then he lost. And then the Andre Orlovsky fight, very close fight. Maybe some people said Collier won, but he's just beating the bottom of the barrel of heavyweights. I mean, he couldn't beat Carlos Felipe. He couldn't beat Orlovsky. Like, I think Boudet can beat those guys. So it would be a close fight, though. Don't get me wrong, but I do think Boudet could beat those guys. So give me Boudet. I'm gonna say he gets the knockout actually later in the fight, maybe like late second or third round. Um, Bets, I'd stay away. Just stay away from this one. I'm not a good low level heavyweight predictor and or better, so I'm just gonna stay away. I'm gonna tell you I got Boudet, but I am not confident whatsoever. Speaking of low level heavyweight fights, we got Waldo Cortes-Acosta versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Acosta is 9-0, 31 years old, 6'4", with a 78-inch reach, and De Lima is 28-1, 37 years old, 6'1", 75-inch reach. Let me get there. So Costa's a solid striker with okay power. He doesn't have the best finishing ability on the feet. He throws a ton of volume though. He can't stop or check a leg kick to save his life. In his last fight, it was against not his last fight, I'm sorry. It was Jared Bandera fight. Jared Bandera, friend of the show, was destroying his knees and legs and calves, and he just had nothing to do. He just kept pushing forward though, and somehow he survived, but I don't know how he didn't fall. But De Lima, he's a powerful striker with good combos, good power in his hands, and guess what? He's got very good leg kicks and just kicks in general. He does have some wrestling he can use, and takedowns are pretty decent. Cardio kind of fades after a round and a half if it gets past there, but he's pretty tough and durable. He did lose to Bogoy or Ivanov. That was a close fight. I could have went either way. That's all I'll say. But he's beating the guys who. I mean that this last fight was very impressive against Andrei Arlovsky. He's beating the guys he needs to. And I think he can do it again here. So I'm going to go with De Lima in this one. I'm actually more confident in this low level heavyweight fight. I just think he's going to be able to land the cleaner shots. He might get the knockdown or a knockout. His leg kicks are going to be too much for Acosta. And that's going to be key in this fight. If he can get those leg kicks in this fight, I think it's going to pay huge dividends. And if if by some chance Cortes-Acosta can survive a round and a half, the tides may turn and maybe he pulls this off and gets it to decision, and it will be a close decision. But I do think the Lima has a chance of winning the first 2 rounds at least and surviving the third or getting the knockout early. So with my pick, I'm going to say DeLima does get that first round knockout. And for my bets, if I did one, I would do DeLima money line. It's pretty close to a pick 'em. -140 is not too bad. You can maybe look at the knockout prop inside the distance. He did get a submission win over Arlovsky, so something to think about there. Definitely look at the under if it's set at 1.5. I think it's set at 1.5, but the under 2.5, something to think about. But again, I think if there's a finish in this fight, it's going to be on the DeLima side. So maybe look at the DeLima prop. I don't know. Unders for sure though, but I think there's a better bet than that though. I'll think about that one. Next one, Julian Erosa versus Fernando Padilla. Erosa is 28 and 10, 33 years old, 6'1", 74.5-inch reach. Padilla is 14 and 4, 26 years old, 6'1", with a 76-inch reach. Let me get there. That's the one I thought we skipped. I think it moved. Okay, so Rosa's a pretty well-rounded fighter, solid striking. He does have pretty solid wrestling and grappling as well. He throws tons of volume on the feet, but he gets hit just about as much as he throws. He gets hit a lot. But that's probably because he likes to make more fights or stand-up fights more of a brawl where they're just giving and exchanging one after another. But you know what? He's getting on the wrong end of some of these. Alex Caceres fight was crazy, and that was 2 months ago. He was knocked out pretty good. So that's something to think about in that fight. And I believe out of his 10 wins, he's been KO'd six times. So never been submitted, but ugh, that's dicey. That's the one little red flag with him. It's that I don't like, but he does have decent cardio to go 3 rounds. And Padilla is making his UFC debut. He's got very good grappling and submissions. His striking is just okay. He hasn't fought in almost 2 years. So 1 year, 9 months was his last fight. He's pretty tough and durable, and he's never been finished in his career. So this is going to be a tricky fight. And there's just red flags everywhere. Erosa's chin. You got the UFC debutant in the Apex. He's never been finished. He's not the greatest striker, but he's really good grappler. Like it's just a lot of red flags. But oh, I'm gonna go with the better, more well-rounded fighter with more experience with Erosa. I just don't really trust him too much because he's really aggressive and his chin is just not there. But luckily, I think he'll be okay this fight because, like I said, Padilla, not the greatest striker, and he doesn't really have the greatest power in his hands either. I think Erosa will be able to take those shots. Now, if this fight gets to the mat, it could be a little sketchier than that because Padilla is really good. But give me Erosa to win. I'm going to say he wins by decision. Like I said, Padilla's never been finishes in his career. And I think he'll just be able to outstrike Padilla for 3 rounds and win a decision, or Rosa will win a decision. So with the bets, mate, if you're feeling frisky and you want to risk it, a Rosa money line, or just do the over, I'm gonna stay away. I can't trust either of these guys. I'm not trusting Erosa's chin, and I don't want to trust Padilla in his UFC debut either. So that's where I'm at in this fight, but slightly, ever so slightly, I'll give me Erosa. Next fight, Cody Brundage versus Rodolfo Vieira. Brundage is 8 and 3, 28 years old, 6 foot with a 72-inch reach. And Vieira is 8 and 2, 33 years old, 6 foot with a 73-inch reach. Let me get there real quick. Brundage, solid wrestler with good takedowns, okay striking with okay power in his feet. Cardio's pretty good. Takedown defense is just okay. And he's just one of those guys where he's just okay everywhere. He doesn't really do anything great and doesn't really do anything awful, but he's just not very impressive. I hate to say it, and I'm sorry, he's just not very impressive. Now, Vieira is an amazing grappler with amazing submissions. On the feet, He's just okay as well. He does have some power in his hands if he lands, but um, his takedowns aren't the greatest, but I do think his takedowns will work against Brundage here. His cardio is just okay. He has shown better cardio than the Fluffy fight, which I believe was 3 fights ago. And, because after that 1 round, he almost had, like, 3 different submissions, and he was gassed. He looked better in the Stoltzfus fight, and he looked better in the Curtis fight. He just couldn't get those takedowns, but he went all 3 rounds with Chris Curtis. He didn't get knocked out or anything. So that's pretty good. I mean, he tried 20 times to get a takedown, but he just couldn't get it. So, anyways, I'm gonna go with Vieira here. I think he's just the better fighter. And what Brundage does best, Vieira is gonna be better. And that's saying it right there. Brundage is just gonna play into the hands of Vieira's strengths, which is gonna be grappling, submissions. I think he's gonna be stronger on the mat with his takedowns and on the feet. I think that's where it's gonna be close. And maybe Cody has a little bit of an edge, but give me Vieira to win this one. I do think he's gonna be able to get those takedowns, get this fight to the mat, and get the submission win. Probably, I'm gonna say first round. Let's do first round submission. I think he's gonna get it done early. For bets, I don't know. This is such a weird fight too. Maybe if you wanna fade Vieira's cardio, maybe Brundage gets a late stoppage if he can survive the first round and a half, or Vieira's gonna get the submission or knockout. So maybe the under 2.5 or fight doesn't go the distance would be the only thing I would do here. I don't trust Vieira at minus 280. You want to take a shot in the dog? Plus 230 is not a bad idea. I'm just not too impressed with Cody. So under 2.5. It's about where I would go with that fight with bets. Co-main event: Caio Borralho versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Caio is 13-1, 30 years old, 6'1", with a 75-inch reach. And Oleksiejczuk is 18-5, 28 years old, 6 foot, 74-inch reach. Let's get there. Where am I at? Okay, so Borralho, he's a well-rounded fighter. He's got solid technical striking, keeps his range very well, very good takedowns and wrestling, very good grappling. The only little bugaboo with him, it's just a little bugaboo with me with him. Yeah, is he lacks the finishing ability, whether it's on the feet or on the mat. And I know he's got a finish against this one dude, Jesse Murray, in the Dana White Contender Series, but that guy was not good. And he went to decision with Aaron Jeffrey. It's not a bad law or win, but it was a decision. He didn't get the contract. He got a decision there. It was that knee, or I think it was a legal knee, but they ruled it okay. He did beat Armin Petrosian. He did a lot of grappling. And the Muradov fight, he looked a little weird. He looked a little weird, but he still ended up getting the win, unanimous decision because of the grappling, I believe, too. And Oleksiejczuk, very good boxer. He's got very quick strikes. He's got good power, good counters. He's very quick on the feet, and that's his game. Just boxing. He likes to push forward. He tries to get the knockout. His takedown defense isn't great. He doesn't have any wrestling or grappling. He can be controlled if he does get taken down too. And his one loss, Jacoby was a while ago, about a year, but he did get taken down by Cody Brundage, I think, a couple times, but he ended up winning or getting the knockout by him. Um, yeah, this is a pretty clear cut breakdown. I mean, it's gonna be Oleksiejczuk may be the better. It's gonna be the better striker and boxer, but Borralho's has pretty good fight IQ. He knows what to do. He's gonna have a very good game plan. He sticks to those game plans pretty well, except last fight was a little weird. But I think Borralho is gonna win. So my pick's gonna be Borralho. I think he's gonna be able to get those takedowns, work his grappling, his wrestling. I do think he should get a submission here because, like I said, Oleksiejczuk's grappling isn't gonna be great. But if this fight does play out on the feet, Oleksiejczuk is very, very live here, and maybe Kyle gets knocked out. But I don't even think Kyle's been finished in his career. No, he's never been finished in his career. But we all know Oleksiejczuk has that power to finish anyone, and especially in the middleweight division. He was finishing light heavyweights before he moved down because he was a smaller light heavyweight. So This is gonna be a fun fight. I hope Kyle does what he needs to do, but I think he wins this one by a submission later in the fight, maybe late second or third round when just Oleksiejczuk is gassed from all the grappling he's gonna have to do. Bets, I do like Kyle as a parlay piece. I think it's pretty safe. Um, Maybe the unders as well. Both guys, it covers both bases. I do think this fight will end inside the distance one way or another. Next one is going to be the main event, which should have happened last week, which I wish it did, but hey, we got it this time. Yadong Song versus Ricky Simone. Song is 19-7-1, 25 years old, 5'8", with a 67-inch reach. Simone is 20-3, 30 years old, 5'6", with a 70-inch reach. So Song is a very good striker with very good power. He's very quick on his feet. He can be hittable at times though, but he's got pretty solid takedown defense. But it's a different story with guys like this because Simone is a very well-rounded fighter himself. He's more so a wrestler or grappler, but his striking is pretty solid. He's got good power. He can be a little hittable at times on the feet too, but he's got very, very, very good cardio. He likes to chain wrestle and chain takedowns and go for that. And last week when I did this breakdown, I ever so slightly leaned Simone, but now this is going to be a 5-round fight. And I'm a little bit more confident in my pick now, and I'm gonna go with Simone again. I think a 5-round fight is better for Simone. I think it would have been dicier if it was only 3 because Yadong Song is gonna be very good in the first couple rounds, like he was against Corey Sandhagen. I think he won both of those first and second rounds, but after that, Corey Sandhagen took over and eventually got that doctor stoppage, I think at the end of the 4th round, if I remember. But yeah, I just think Simone's takedowns are gonna be too much for Song, and, even Corey, I believe I don't wanna say that because I don't can't remember too much if he got takedowns or not, but, I think he did, couple at least, but, yeah, Simone's a way better wrestler than Corey Sandhagen, and I think I said this last time. Simone's wrestling cardio is probably as close as you can get to Marab's wrestling cardio. Like these guys are like almost identical in a way, but I would say Simone's a little bit better striker and Marab has a little bit better cardio and takedowns, but and Simone's a better grappler too. So with my pick, give me Simone to win. I'm gonna say he gets a third round submission or maybe 4th round submission. I just think Song's gonna start to fade after the 2nd round, and yeah, that's what I got. For my bets, Simone money line at -130 range, I think it's at now, so that's not bad. Look at the unders. I believe the under is set at 3.5. I'd be a little bit if it was set at 4.5, I would like that better, obviously, but fight doesn't go. It shouldn't be a bad price for a parlay piece, so that's something to think about too, the unders. Under 3.5, that's close. It's a good set line, I will tell you that. So, but all right, guys, I'll let you guys leave here. So those were my picks and predictions for UFC Vegas 72. Thank you everybody for watching and tuning in. On your way out, please hit that like button for me. Subscribe, obviously, and be sure to join me and Cody from Blood Money MMA Bets, our live streams every week. Usually on Thursday nights, but I think this week we're going to do it either Tuesday or Wednesday nights. So definitely click those notifications so you know. I'll post usually the day before or day of in the morning when we're going to go live on Instagram, on Twitter, even in the YouTube community thing. So you can find out that way. But like I said, hope everybody enjoys the fights this weekend. And until next time,